Greetings. Welcome to Growth Hacking Show, where you actually get to meet virtually founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, senior entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants all around the world who are on the big mission to help empower you how to avoid costly mistakes and save time and earn more and grow your business with the speed of light. One of the things is the time. The hardest part, people ask you what you do. I say, I'm going to tell you in a moment. In case you don't know me, my name is Mohammed Siddique. I'm the host of a Growth Hacking Show and the co-author of New Success Secrets, available on Amazon. The hardest part of my job is scheduling an interview with my guests. Hardest part, I'm telling you right openly on this one. You may have never asked me. Let me tell you, if you allow me to use two words, I will tell you everything about that part. Scheduling sucks. It is not easy. Oh, how about this? Are you available on this time? And this, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? Oh my God. And you know what? Anyone can do it. What it does, look at the schedule, what's available time, and then they look at the other schedule and see where the matching time is. And then send me 3 times. I may be traveling and calendar blocked and all that, like a VA job, assistant job, executive assistant. Let me tell you, that job has been automated already, and I was not aware of that. The moment I found out, I say, I have to go to the founder and CEO, how they come up with all those things and how they automate the whole thing. And when I outreach to my today's guest, and he is the founder and CEO of that AI company, that's artificial intelligence. And company name is very simple, one letter, X.AI. Simple. And my guest is the founder and CEO of X.AI, is this artificial intelligence scheduling company that takes care of our schedule. When I outreach to my guest, he said, why not send an email to my assistant, Andrew? And I said, oh my God, this CEO must be very big. And I said, okay, I said, Andrew might be assistant. And that was his artificial intelligence assistant. And we kind of followed the email. How about this? You're available on these dates. So natural conversation. And then he told me, oh, it was all done by AI, by my system. And you know what? I should be using it, and you should. I'm already using some other automated, but however, that's like a 10 years old thing. We feel like, and many people not using anything automated at all. And we all can save that much time, because that time allows you to actually work on your business instead of trying to figure it out what to do. I think you probably know what's about to happen, and that you should be scheduling your next meeting using X.AI. Let me tell you that sales pitch right then and there. Please join me to give a warm welcome to my guest from New York. He is his founder and CEO of X.AI, no other than Dennis Mortensen.
Thanks much for having me. Really appreciate it. And it certainly looks like I should hire you as my VP of sales instantly, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, thank you so much. So, and in case you don't know Dennis yet, from his accent, you probably know he is a true immigrant story. That's America is the land of opportunity. That's why now he lives in New York. 10 years ago, he moved here and working on amazing things. And that's how he's on the mission to help you to regain more of your time to work on productivity. Dennis, welcome. And let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to get into this artificial intelligence, and especially specific one thing, scheduling make easy and automation?
I think it's almost obvious to everybody that there's some pain attached to that of setting up a meeting. It's just that we somehow gave up on having it solved, or at least the only way we could imagine this kind of getting solved was that if we did 20 years of work, ended up being SVP of whatever at Time Inc., got a human assistant called Tom, and at that moment, at 52 years old, I could get a human to manage my meetings. And that just didn't really rhyme with the version of the future I wanted to live in. So I thought, what if somehow we could recreate Tom in some machine instance so that it was not a luxury, so that any employee really at $8 could just get their own assistant, so that whenever anybody emails you and say, hey, do you have time to kind of meet up at some point early February? You can reply back and say, sure, I'm up for that. We can meet at my office for half an hour. I have CC'd in Amy and she can help put something on my calendar. And that, I think, is almost magical. And that's something which we've been working on for the last kind of 4 years, and helping just ordinary knowledge workers, myself included here, in just getting things on the calendar.
Wonderful. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. In fact, I looked at it carefully. I may have already signed up on your trial version too. So, Dennis, this is like owning a business with very creative, with efficiency. However, whenever you own a business as an entrepreneur, there are so many things what we should do and so many things we should not do. And here's my next question is, what are the top 3 missteps to avoid when it comes to growing your business? Because you are dealing with so many businesses all around the world who are scheduling meetings.
So I think generically, as entrepreneurs, it's very easy to fall in love with all sorts of features and ideas because we're kind of creative, and the people which we team up with are equally kind of creative. I just don't think it's the right path. I think the path is one where you at least try to be hyper-focused, that you find one thing to solve and you lean into it, because there's not really much reward in being kind of half-assed at 7 or 8 things, but there's potentially some reward if you try to be world-class at one thing. And we've been spending the last 4 years trying to be really, really good at scheduling meetings. Doesn't mean that that is easy. It kind of sounds easy. It's kind of like when you say, oh, self-driving cars, I kind of get it. Yeah, but it's pretty bloody hard. And we might not even know what we're going to solve in the next 2 years or 20 years or 40 years. And this is kind of similar where, no, I get it, Dennis, but it's hard. But that is what we're leaning into. So that's certainly, I think, a real advice. Stay focused, not as a kind of catchphrase. That's very easy to say you're focused. Now, if you are focused, I think it's also equally important, certainly as a second quick advice, to be very clear about where you're headed. What does the end destination look like? Because if you don't have a picture of the end destination, how do you really navigate the roads towards that? So you need to have some clear idea of what this could look like in 5 or 10 years from now. And it doesn't need to be 100% correct or completely aligned to exactly how it played out, but you must have some idea of where you're headed. So I think that will be 2 very generic kind of foundations, but I tend to really kind of hold on to them dearly.
One more.
I would, if anything, and this might just be slightly geeky, always try to build a business on a unique data source, especially in this day and age. As in, I would never, ever build a business on a data source which I didn't own and operate. Kind of like go back a handful of years and you would see companies being built, say, on the Twitter fire hose, meaning that you are leasing a data set for a brief moment in time, but you don't own it. And that means somebody else can decide whether you should be in business or not. That is not for me. You must own the underlying data set. That might be slightly geeky, but I think it really should resonate with every business in the year 2018, soon 2019.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a great, very well-advised things to consider and focus. So Dennis, what are your top 3 success secrets for your growth? Especially you worked on artificial intelligence, and it's sometimes you're working way ahead than our average Joe is thinking. Adaptability is hard. So what is the key success secret?
I do think, again, and I might be too generic and you're going to hang up on me too soon. Dennis, be way more specific. I think in growth, anything which you can talk about as a tactic would have been exhausted as an opportunity tomorrow. Kind of like you should send your newsletters on Tuesdays at 1, but if we all do that, then don't send them on Tuesdays at 1, right? So whatever kind of very detailed tactic that you can suggest, that will get exhausted as an opportunity. In the kind of generic genre, I do think you should fall in love with the pain and not the solution. So I'm not necessarily a fan of AI. I am as a geek, but my company is in love with the scheduling pain. And by whatever means I can remove that pain, I will do that. With AI, without AI, with this tactic, with that tactic. So fall in love with the pain. That's certainly, I think, a real honest growth strategy, because then you can talk about that pain day in and day out without kind of having to kind of change the narrative along the way, because that should never change. Now, the second kind of idea, if you will, is one of transparency. And I think this might be slightly new and perhaps leaning towards a tactic. So certainly was a time, you and me, sadly, because we're getting older, have some memory of running a business, say 15 or 20 years ago, for where you would not tell anybody anything. Employees, revenue, profit, investments, investors, salaries, all sorts of things would just be secrets. And that's kind of how we ran businesses. In this day and age, though, we are becoming ever more transparent. And if that is some sort of vector where we started out being kind of embedded in secrecy and are highly transparent today, then you must assume that it's going to move forward. So perhaps there's some opportunity in being even more transparent, as in, what is it that you can talk about in or around your business that people would appreciate, that people didn't dare talk about yesterday? So that, I think, is a really kind of interesting kind of tactic. We've deployed it ourselves, speaking very openly about some of our mistakes around, say, go-to-market, pricing, tiering, and so on and so forth, because you know what? We don't have all the answers, but we're open and honest about the experiments that we run. So those would certainly be, I think, two good things to latch onto.
Yeah. Again, one more.
I'm testing you here to see whether you keep me to the fire. I do think of all the things you can do for where attribution is difficult. So it's very easy to fall in love with some growth tactic for where the attribution is clear cut. As in, I know exactly how many visits or trials or conversions or revenue or profit I extracted from this particular activity. But you know what? Many times there are activities for where attribution is extremely difficult to the point of impossible. And people then start to shy away from it because they can't convince their boss, they can't convince the organization. And when that happens, that might just be an opportunity for you to kind of lean into it and dare do something where in your head, you can see the kind of attribution somehow work, and you see it being kind of multiple steps. You can't really do a formula, but you know it's right, and you're willing to make a bet. Lean into that. And I'll give you just one example from my inbox this morning, and this is a tactic that we've done. So there's a set of kind of high-level executives that are now in need of some exposure to AI. It is not my job to train executives of European companies or what have you. I got another job. However, it could also be that if I speak to enough of them week in and week out, I plant little seeds of, I think Dennis and those guys are doing something interesting. I certainly know that I got a lot out of that kind of 1 hour presentation that he did for us, which was not really around his business, but what are they doing? They're doing this particular thing. We should probably check that out. So there's certainly things where what I'm trying to say is the attribution is going to be very difficult. Try to potentially lean into it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Dennis, how are you growing X.AI right now in this economy? How are you growing your business right now?
We are primarily product driven, meaning that Amy and Andrew, our two agents, and or our software in general, gets exposed to people through its sheer use. And that certainly drives a lot of inbound activity. Just like you have demoed my product just by the fact that we are meeting up, because there's nothing on my calendar that Amy and Andrew didn't negotiate. So you have demoed my product already, and you should kind of go sign up for a trial, right? So that is certainly where we see plenty of inbound interest, and that's kind of how we do the growth.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So that you are young, energetic, and hustler. I can tell, because that's how you end up in doing all this. However, Dennis, running a business as a founder and CEO is like a roller coaster. Sometimes it's going up, and when you're stuck, because you fall in love with the problem, that means you don't know how to solve it. At times you're stuck. So it's a roller coaster. Sometimes it's down and sometimes it's up. That's how the whole business runs. Okay. Here is my question, Dennis. What keeps you going at a down moment?
So certainly, you're certainly right on the roller coaster definition. Let me just expand on it a little bit to add some additional words, right? So what you describe is some sort of band for where most people are some days happy, other days slightly disappointed because they didn't get their promotion or something else. If you're in a startup, you're neither of those two, because that band is way more dramatic. You're either completely ecstatic, running around shirtless in the office, or you're sitting alone in the bathroom crying in the dark, right? Those are the two kind of versions, and you kind of cycle in between those. Now, when you're sitting alone in the bathroom crying, what do you do? Or how do you walk out and do another kind of 2 days? I think there's 100 things you can do, but there's only one thing which you can allow yourself to do, which is to say, this is not a definition of my life's worth. This is just a startup. And perhaps it's just all a game for where the most important thing is the experience and the time I spend here, not necessarily the outcome. It's obviously nice if we have a good outcome, and we might even make a few monies and all of that, but it should really be the experience. And you should accept the fact that most of us will just fail, but let's make it fun along the way. So I tend not to get too bogged down by the fact that I didn't sell that client or didn't raise that $10, because we'll get to play another day if that's the case.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that your perspective. As we are about to wrap up, as a growth hacking community, how can we support you?
So this is what you should do. If you really want to support me, you should go to X.AI, sign up for a free trial, no credit card kind of required, play around with it, schedule 5 or 10 meetings, then email me at dennis@human.x.ai and tell me what didn't work, or what would you like to see, or this was kind of awesome, do more of that. Any one of those emails, I would love those. That is the best thing you can do for me. So that would be much appreciated.
Wonderful. Thank you. So go ahead. No credit card required. X.AI. You can see it right on your screen. Enter your email. You're probably on your way. Just confirm the email and ready to go. Simple. That way you never have to say that anymore the way I said it. There's no more sucks anymore after having the X.AI. That solved that challenge. So as we are about to wrap up, Dennis, what would you say as a final word?
Happy holidays. It's been a good year, 2018. Let's see if we cannot all do just what we did this year, just a little more next year. I think that will be my closing remarks.
Yeah, little more next year. So keep marching.
Always a little more.
Always a little more. Thank you so much, Dennis, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Show community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia, wishing you good luck, good sales, and I do hope our path cross again with another amazing guest. Until then, all best wishes.
Cheers.